watching Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin, and I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we are here to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
We already did that.
Yeah, we did. In any case, we're going to actually run into the vlog. We didn't get to do a vlog last week, so this will be news heavy. I'm actually going to change things up a little bit with the vlog, as I'm actually researching some stories, putting up some rumors, stuff that I gather throughout the week. I'm writing it down because my mind picks it up and goes, and it's gone. Even makes that sound, and it's gone.
I've heard it.
So the stories I got, I've written down. I know that you actually are in the wire for certain things. I know you read A&N, and you get licensing news and stuff like that. So that's also pretty cool. And so we're gonna just come up with what we have heard, and there'll be some categories, but we'll be starting off with what we have been up to.
Yeah.
And you have actually been up to something very good,
Yes.
and even though it was filmed on April Fool's Day, it's not an April Fool's joke.
I suppose you could have looked at it that way, especially because it took me a week to post it. For those of you who haven't seen, or let's back up. For those of you who've been following the channel, you know that, for one, we focused as much as we can on the world of entertainment and media and physical media and that sort of thing. And we try to make it fun. We try to keep the politics to a dull roar.
You can talk about your worship of Herman the Chicken God all you want on this channel.
Oh! Apparently, my brother's friend has a movie about that.
Oh,
yeah. It's interesting. Crazy in joke there. But anyway, and you know that I do get a little animated when I talk about environmental issues and nature and all this, because I love it. And I have for years. And for years, people have been telling me, well, you need to do something like that, nature scene. Yep. If you ever saw Nature Scene back in the day, it's a great show. So I decided finally, I'm going to give it a try. So I've posted a video on my own channel, Kotobuki Jake. Not to be confused, I apparently have another video another channel under that name from like 10, 15 years ago. And it's a dead channel, so don't get confused. That one only has a couple of reviews on it.
There'll be a link in the description down below.
Yes, but this one is going to be dedicated primarily, if not almost entirely, to nature and to enjoying it. And the first video is a walk through one of the local parks where I talk about plants I find, and just kind of it's a general intro video as well. I plan to do walk and talk videos of varying lengths at varying places. But every now and then I'll also put in little short videos, or like if I find a snake or something, I might do a little video there.
Pick up the snake, let it bite you on the nose, you know how it goes.
Crikey!
That's what Brave Wilderness did, and they're like a million strong, actually 4 million strong.
Now, I'm not one of those people that wants to suffer physical injury for views.
I don't think he wants to either.
But I definitely am more than happy to demonstrate how harmless certain snakes are. Or, what have you. But anyway, so that happened. So that's the big thing, I guess, this week for me at least. And hopefully some of y'all will enjoy the channel. And if you don't, well, you still got this one to enjoy. But, yeah.
That's right. So what have you been watching?
Oh, all kinds of stuff.
The Cliff Notes, of course.
Yeah, I finished off Collection 6 of Fairy Tail. Although I've been narcoleptic lately, so I slept through part of it. But Collection 6 is the Infinity Clock arc, which is filler. Which, if anyone is familiar with the series, you can almost skip that whole collection, and you're not missing much. Oh, hey, cats. And I've finished off 2 other things. Notably, I finished off Season 3 of Boardwalk Empire finally, and I finished off Frozen Planet. So those have been officially retired for the time being.
Was it good?
Which one?
Frozen Planet.
Oh, yeah, it's quite good.
Good.
It was a very good series. And
one last penguin joke.
A penguin? And he's been drinking. Wait a minute. Penguins can't fly. Penguins can't fly!
Oh, penguins?
Well, let's just for the moment, I'll throw at least one of my penguin things just for you. All right, go ahead.
All right. Now, granted, the Frozen Planet and Planet Earth and all those are narrated by Sir David Attenborough, who does have his own unique pronunciations. He does not call them penguins. But it was interesting watching this show where he kept talking about glaciers. Glaciers. And then, of course, on Planet Earth where he was talking about sloths. I'd never heard of them called sloths before. But anyway, but very notably, I've had some Oscar viewing in. I've watched several Oscar nominees. Call Me By Your Name. Finally saw that one.
Watch the table.
I'm sorry. Call Me By Your Name. I do think it's a little bit overrated. I know that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. I will say this, though. It's a very well-shot film. Very well acted. I can see why people were talking about that one. There was one scene that people kept talking about with Michael Stuhlbarg. And he did do a great job with that one scene. And I could see why James Ivory became the oldest person to win a competitive Oscar, because it is a well-written screenplay, but he won more because he's James Ivory and he never won before. And the song by Sufjan Stevens, there's two new ones by him, the Oscar-nominated one and then the other one. Really good songs. The other one. Really good songs. It's a good movie. And that was the second most notable nominee. I still need to see Phantom Thread, but that comes out this week.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the others, I finally saw two of the documentary nominees. I saw Abacus Small Enough to Jail, which is about a local family bank in Chinatown. They had like 4 branches. That when the whole economic crisis happened, the lawmakers wanted to hurt someone. And they were too scared to go after the big banks that actually did all the harm. So they went after one that was small enough to jail.
Yeah.
And so it's actually a really good little movie. Really makes you feel for these people who got prosecuted. Even though you don't want to feel for bankers, especially in association with the financial crisis. I read and watched The Big Short, and my understanding is that banks like Goldman Sachs deserved much worse than they got, and little banks like this one, like Abacus, got much worse than they deserved.
In Iceland, they messed those banks up in Iceland. They weren't playing them.
But the other one, I finally saw Faces Places.
Oh.
And it is a good, upbeat, interesting, enjoyable film.
Was it worth the hype?
To a degree. There is a part near the end where a very famous filmmaker throws a wrench into the works. And I'm not going to say more than that.
Literally?
Yes, we'll go with that.
A literal wrench.
No. But to put it bluntly, the ending was not what I expected from the rest of the film. But it was a good film. It was very enjoyable, and I understand the hype behind it now. The other category where I saw too was animated feature. I still have to see The Breadwinner, but I've now seen all the other nominees. To my surprise, Ferdinand was a really good movie. Did not deserve to get a nod over Mary and the Witch's Flower.
So is that based off the Warner Brothers property, the Bull?
No, it's based off the kids' book.
I mean, it is based off it, but the Warner Brothers did an adaptation of an animated adaptation.
think it's...
They made the bull like a part of their Looney Tunes crew for a while.
Well, yeah, they did. But I don't think that's related. I'm not super familiar with the book myself. It was good, and it deserved a nod more than The Boss Baby did. But I still think it's an insult to animation that those two got in over Mary and the Witch's Flower and In This Corner of the World.
A silent voice.
Well, I still haven't seen that, but I still think that's probably true. But the other one, to my pleasant surprise, somewhat shock, I loved Loving Vincent. I really did. It's one of my favorite films of the year, right behind In This Corner of the World.
Wow.
So but it's the first film ever done entirely in oil painting.
I really need to get that film, though.
But that's not the only thing it has to offer. The whole thing is this guy is he's trying to deliver a letter as a favor to his father, who's the postmaster. And he's going around inquiring about the death of Vincent van Gogh. And honestly, the movie has a Citizen Kane feel to it. The whole idea of using different people's narratives to fill in the gaps about this other person.
Only $30 if you want to get it.
Yeah. Right Stuff actually has it, strangely enough. It's a really good movie. Really worth watching. And Loving Vincent, Faces Places, and Ferdinand are all films that I think could have been contenders for original score. They all had great music. Really great music. So definitely those were some really good ones. And then yesterday, this is not an Oscar nominee, but I did see a very fascinating, strange, weird little film that will not be to all tastes. But I finally saw Lady Macbeth. And that one, have you heard anything on there or seen anything? It's I think it's based on a book, but it's about this young Scottish girl, or so out on the moors. I wasn't sure if it was Britain or Scotland, who gets involved in a loveless marriage, and the name Lady Macbeth is well deserved with her.
But
it was interesting.
Is there haggis and cow tipping?
No cow tipping. I don't recall if there was haggis.
Yeah, well.
That would have made the film there.
That would have.
Yes.
Actually, was there cow tipping in Ferdinand?
I do believe some of the cows were tipped at different points.
Oh, well, see, there you go. It's worth it right there.
I'm still thinking about, what was it? Was it Watch Mojo or one of them that pointed out the bull twerking? I'm like, yeah, you gotta wonder about that in an Oscar-nominated film. Although that scene as a whole was a dance-off between the bulls and the horses were like ultra hoity-toity Germans. It was actually the horses were actually kind of funny, so it was interesting. But yeah, it really was. They dropped the ball, totally ignoring anime this year. But it wasn't as big of an insult as Boss Baby.
So mine, I'm going to be as quick as I can so we can get to the news. I did a very limited viewing. I finished Baccano, which is an excellent series.
Nice.
The only issue I have with Baccano, because of my changed review schedule, which is near non-existent because there are too many projects I'm working on right now, is that it's 16 episodes. It didn't need to be 16 episodes. It could have told the story in 12 to 13. It keeps going after the story is done. And I felt like it was just kind of aimlessly filling those episodes up. It is very entertaining, very well written, great characters. I couldn't recommend it more. And that is where I will leave that. The other thing I've been watching is I just realized I usually prioritize used, but I had been ignoring the Shout Factory Friday the 13th set. As you can see, the rest of these are in their position to be watched. I have watched that much so far. I still have a lot to go. I am going to finally get through that so that I can get it done. Now, in other news, I have completed some video game stuff, which is very rare. Casa Bonita was released as a DLC for the South Park Fractured But Whole. It's a cute little short thing which gives you a new area to explore, which is Casa Bonita, which is sort of this really high-flying restaurant that's got like lots of rides and stuff, all Mexican themed. And they combined this with basically From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah. So, but you get new powers, you get a new class, and you get to play as one of the other characters. To me, it was worth playing through. You can play it through in one sitting pretty easily if you just go straight through it, especially if you've beaten the game like I have and pretty much unlocked everything.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Thank you all.
There's a lot more unlockables there, so you can take some extra time and go through it. I don't have extra time, so... The other thing I've been working on is Far Cry 5. And I have reasons for that, and I'll be talking about that in the news. But in general, it is a fun one. I think it's going to be a time suck, unfortunately. But I am interested in getting through it. There was one I was working on that I just kind of dropped. Secret of Mana. I don't know what it is. The remake really hasn't been pulling me like the old one did. The animations aren't as good as the 16-bit one. The music, I actually switch it back to the 16-bit because I prefer the 16-bit music better. In general, it's not as solid a game. And that's kind of sad. The hit detection is what finally did it for me. You will hit an enemy, it'll fly back, and then it'll sit there, invincible. Not able to attack you, but it'll sit there. And sometimes it'll sit there for a whole minute before registering the damage. And this is just, that's unforgivable. I'll probably wait until it updates a little bit more. They'll probably fix these things. Get on the ball. Fix your stuff. So, with that being said...
Speaking of time sucks... I've also been doing some reading this week, and I'm up to volume 4 of your favorite manga in the world.
One Piece?
Yes.
Well, I am actually reading Skip Beat, which is, so I'm a little... So, I'm actually at probably volume 7-ish, and I'm working on Skip Beat in that manner. So, into the news... Gravity Falls is finally getting a release physically. So we're going to cover the physical media releases, not much on my end that I found of like super note. But this is big for me because I didn't think this was ever going to get released. I didn't think that Disney was going to let it go.
Yeah.
And so Shout Factory is going to be releasing it. Price point $49 for DVD, $79 for Blu-ray. Gift with purchase if you pre-order. Comes out in July. Gives me hope that Star vs. the Forces of Evil is going to come out. Any comment on...
I know you're excited about that.
Any comment on Gravity Falls?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been showing it to me a little here, a little there. When we have our nights where our videos run long and we need something short.
Yep.
It's a fun series. I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. And I would like to get this. I don't know if I'll shell out that much to get it right away, but... Yeah, that'd be cool.
Sales occasionally.
Yeah.
I just want to support it. We talked about trying to support the creators in one of the pickup videos earlier this week, and this is a way to do it.
Right.
Cosmopolitan, if you're familiar with the magazine, was pulled from Walmart shelves due to being over-sexualized and exploiting women yay, Me Too movement. Not really. I really don't think it's because of that. I think Walmart was looking for an excuse, and this was we can look awesome. Well, we can do it. And
it's probably more that, like flagging magazine sales coupled with an opportunity for a media, what am I trying to say?
Well,
media brownie points or something.
So I really just don't think it's going to do anything.
Yeah.
So, but they're pulling it away. I have a feeling that this is just a beginning of the end deal for physical media magazines. When you see them at checkout, more lucrative things. They don't sell as well anymore. People just get things digital these days.
Yeah. You still get a lot of impulse buys, though. You're talking about the checkouts. You know, I'm sure the National Enquirer.
Well, yeah, that's where they live. Man. It's President's Magazine of choice, according to what he said.
There's not much I want to add on physical media. I know Nozomi put out a bunch of notices of new releases. They're doing a Blu-ray release of is it Sweet Blue Flowers, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
So that's like, I think, the first Blu-ray release there. Funimation has licensed a couple new titles, but I didn't recognize them, so I don't know. So not necessarily anything earth-shattering, but we got some stuff. I'm still waiting, and hoping for the announcement for Silent Voice. You know, I'm still looking for that.
That's coming. You know, it's on the way. It's very well loved. Already, it's gonna get.
One thing I liked is that the current price for Mary and the Witch's Flower on Amazon is $5 less than it was when I put the pre-order in. So I like that.
Much cheaper, yes. So we're gonna move on to movie and TV news. In the news,
yes.
I don't know if you're very familiar with Dan Schneider, the man who directed iCarly, but again. Me Too movement has claimed another casualty. For good or for bad, I'm guessing this one is for good because he had quite a few sexual abuse complaints. So he has been fired. Nickelodeon's like, nope, you ain't working with us no more. I'm not very familiar with the work. For those of you who are familiar, who love iCarly, who love Dan Schneider, is he related to Rob Schneider? Well, we'll find out. But let me know in the comments section below. I think.
Back for just a moment on releases. Yeah. Black Panther has set a release date on physical media, May 15.
And I have some Black Panther news, believe it or not, later on in here.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Corey Feldman, he claimed to have been stabbed. He had a picture of himself in the hospital. Reports he was stabbed in the stomach by people who were vocal against him for the pedophilia allegations. He named these people as the Wolf Pack, which is apparently a group of Reddit users who like to troll him for that. It's hard to say how true this is. I've heard that he was attacked and it was a stabbing, but depending on the source you read, tells you how severe it is. Either way, he's doing fine. He's not dying or anything, so good on that.
Yep.
So, Infinity War news. The Groot that will appear in Infinity War is unfortunately Teen Groot. I don't know if you liked it. I thought that the character, that Teen Groot, is annoying, and seeing Teen Groot for the whole Infinity War, gosh, I hope that's not going to be the case. Maybe it's just a start, and he'll get there. I mean, but that's what they're talking about. Have you heard much about Teen Groot or Groot?
No, nothing beyond what you just said, really.
So, Deadpool, was supposed to have an animated cartoon series. That was canceled. Reason?
Disney.
There you go. So,
probably. It could be wrong.
We don't know, actually. It's reasons.
Yes.
Some people say, well, the original excuse was the person who was writing it didn't want to work on it anymore. Then he came back on and said, they're lying their butts off. I did want to do it. So we may never know. But I am sad because I would have loved to see a Deadpool cartoon series.
Yes.
I guess
many of us would.
I guess I'll just have to settle for the Hulk versus movie with Deadpool in it. Roseanne did its debut, I think it was week before last.
Supposedly one of the biggest TV debuts.
Got her a call from the president congratulating her on it. I'm guessing that the call was to say, it's like, these views are synonymous with the support I have. Because I'm guessing because she's a Trump supporter and she plays a Trump supporter, therefore everybody who watches it has to be a Trump supporter.
They're saying that's not the case, but I'm pretty sure Trump doesn't look at nuance.
But, I don't know. Roseanne's kind of weird like that. I mean, I don't know what got her on the Trump bandwagon. I've seen video, just even in 2016, she was going to vote for Hillary. She actually was talking about, well, you should be, when Trump won, they're like, look, you don't want Trump gone because then you're stuck with Pence. Now, that doesn't sound to me like a Trump supporter, so I don't know when she drank the Kool-Aid or what went on. I mean, whether you stand on one side or the other, it's kind of weird and even fishy about that. I don't know. I mean, do you know when she became a Trump supporter?
I will be honest. I have always kind of tuned her out. I've seen a little bit of the old show, and I enjoyed it enough, but I wasn't allowed technically to watch it when it was on the air.
Yeah.
And I just never really got into it.
I do have the original show, and I do think it's well done because it shows a realistic American family.
Supposedly that is the appeal, and supposedly the first couple episodes maintained that dynamic.
Yeah.
So, and yes, right now the divides over politics are very much a realistic reflection of America. So, yeah,
I'm not writing it off. I do want to see it for myself. And from what I've heard, it's not like Will and Grace when they debuted and they decided to take political stab after political stab for the first couple of episodes. This actually seems to be playing it as it needs to play it. And
supposedly they don't even say Trump's name.
Yeah, so, I'm going to look into that and figure it out. I mean, there are some things, like I say, that are weird. I mean, how do you go from criticizing him and voting for Hillary to tweeting that Trump is secretly breaking up Democratic Party child sex rings? That is actually a tweet she did, and then thought better of it and took it down. So there's a part of her that's still like, okay, maybe that was a little bit too over the edge. So, speaking of politics, let's talk about Sylvester Stallone's brother Frank. He also got in the news for tweeting. Basically, he went on the warpath against David Ogg, which, for those of you who follow, he's one of the Parkland survivors that has been, to many, hogging the spotlight. Some people have said that he is a secret plant by Soros and is an adult actor masquerading as a child, and who knows. But I'm not here to say one way or the other. But Frank Stallone decided he was going to attack him on Twitter, ranting, calling him a pussy, and you're sitting there, tweeting on your phone. You should have been out there, stopping bullets with your body, stuff like that. And but he did apologize, so I guess everything's okay, sort of.
Actually, along these lines, I don't know if you've got it on your list here or not, but that seems to be almost a theme. Because one of the dudes from Eagles of Death Metal did a similar apology for a similar rant in the past week.
Well, that seems to be the thing, is that there's this subset of people that really don't like the Parkland kids.
Right.
Their death threats of them, putting targets on their head, And in the lessons, like little brats, stay out of things. We want our guns. Don't mess with our guns.
Okay, now I love your headline for this one. The way you have it written.
Oh, Taylor Swift gives a surprise performance?
Surprised performance.
Oh, yes. Well,
I had no idea I was going to perform.
Basically, 40 lucky patrons at a cafe on 331 got a surprise as Taylor Swift gave an impromptu surprise performance.
So impromptu, she was surprised by it.
She actually had performed there initially when she was in the 8th grade, so she credits that as a place that kind of gave her her start. I thought it was kind of a heartwarming thing. It's kind of giving back. And
what do I think?
I don't know. But I thought, with all these dark things, this is kind of a nice thing, seeing her do that.
I like this next one, though. I had not heard this.
Yes, Woody Harrelson has been tapped to play Carnage in the upcoming Venom movie. I don't know. I've read the comics. I've seen Carnage. He's this kind of wiry little guy, kind of a coward.
You got to admit, Harrelson knows how to play a psychopath.
He does, but I guess it's just a matter of how far away from the comics do we want to get. To me, I think Harrelson would have been a better Eddie Brock.
Well, considering that they're already playing Venom in a world where Spider-Man is not a thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They're still kind of like, well, maybe.
I don't know.
It's, but I'm curious. I don't think I'm going to go to theaters to see the Venom movie. But I probably will watch it when it comes out on streaming because I'm curious. Just not curious enough to throw money at it without seeing it first.
It depends on the buzz, honestly. I'd like to see Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, but I don't know if I want to. The whole thing is very much a up in the air until we know more. Yeah.
So, Roger Corman news. Roger Corman sold the rights to his New Horizon films to Shout Factory and Ace. I'm not sure who Ace is. You know Ace?
No.
Well, he's Luffy's brother. I know that much.
Yes.
But he's dead, so... Oh, spoiler.
That's why his sons are upset.
But his sons are kind of mad about this, and they're trying to say, look, we're his trustees. We aren't going to want to lose that money. He can't do that. They haven't come out with how it ended up in court yet, but court is a slow thing.
Yes.
All right, so we've got some deaths. We'll start with one that I have no idea about, but many of you, especially I know those of you who've come here from the Rebel Gaming Club, I know you like your wrestling, so you've probably known who this guy is. Lucius Johnny Valiant has died on 4/4/18. He got hit by a pickup truck. Now, there's something you don't hear every day.
Yeah.
And, it took a truck to take him down. Let's just look at it that way. I mean, he's a tough guy. It took a truck to take him out. And for those of you who did like him, hopefully he will continue to do well in the world.
Suppose that is a manly way to go, huh?
Trailer drop for The Man Who Killed Don Quixote in several languages.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is real or not because it came out around April Fool's.
Right.
But I do know that he has been working on it again.
Yeah.
And so I'm really hoping that this is real.
Right.
I haven't had time to investigate. Have you heard whether that's a real trailer or a fake trailer?
I didn't even realize they dropped a trailer. I do know that they claim that the film wrapped finally after many years.
So maybe it is.
So maybe.
Because I saw it in French and in English.
Yeah. So you actually saw the trailer?
Yeah, I've seen the trailer.
Oh, I'll have to
pretty
watch
good trailer. Yeah.
Cool.
Knowing him, he already had one. He already got one.
Yes. So they've already got one.
So I found this out today. A Quiet Place is doing quite well in the movies right now. And director John Krasinski is actually in there for insisting that a deaf character play the role, which of a deaf character. I mean, a deaf actor was tapped to play a deaf character, quite unlike a hearing actor being tapped to play a deaf character in Shape of Water.
There isn't a deaf character in Shape of Water. She's mute.
She's mute. Well, I can't remember. Okay, mute. But they didn't have a mute character playing that. There were a lot of things with the... Again, okay. I haven't seen Shape of Water
right.
yet. But that's the thing, is that
Me
they
too.
actually did get somebody with a disability to play someone with disability.
Uh-huh.
And A Quiet Place is doing quite well. Have you heard a lot about this?
I've heard a lot about it, but not much more than what you have here. Just that it's doing well. I think it cleaned up this weekend at the box office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doing quite well there.
Yeah.
Black Panther news.
Yes.
We talked about Black Panther, and it is set to release in Saudi Arabia on April 18th. This is the first film that has been allowed to be screened there since the 80s, when they banned big screen cinema.
Seems kind of surprising that they'd start with this one.
It is, isn't it?
But then again, it is a Be a month, and is this your only Black Panther item?
Yes.
Because I had another very notable one.
Oh, what's that?
Over the weekend, Black Panther stalked right past Titanic
Oh, wow.
for the third highest American box office ever.
So it's making more than one of these...
it made more than Titanic by, I think right now it's about 2 million beyond, maybe 3 million beyond. It still trails Avatar, and it's way behind Star Wars The Force Awakens. But it is now the third film to pass Titanic. It succeeded where the Avengers and The Dark Knight failed.
Wow.
Now, Infinity War may be able to pull that feat off too.
Well, I mean, he is going to be in it.
Yes.
So,
But yeah, Black Panther is killing it at the box office. It's doing well worldwide,
it's,
hence,
it's making records in history.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, it's been since the 1980s since a film was shown in Saudi Arabia. So
it's going to be easy to set box office records there.
They had to build theaters, or maybe retro. I mean,
I don't know.
They had to fit old ones.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I didn't even know that that cinema was banned in Saudi Arabia.
I'd probably heard that at some point, but
It's another reason why I would never want to go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Studio Ghibli founder Isao Takahata has died. Co-founder. He has died. And when you talk Studio Ghibli, you typically think one name, and that's Miyazaki. But
there are three important names.
And that's, that to me, it's good to honor somebody who did so much. He died at age 82 on the 5th of this month.
Yeah.
He'd been in declining health since the summer. He is known for a lot of films. We brought a couple just to show. I went ahead and I wanted to show his first and last film that's released here. He did some work on a TV series beforehand, but his first major film release was Little Norse Prince, or otherwise known here as Horus, Prince of the Sun, which does have, as you can see, a Blu-ray release, official, here in the United States.
I need to get that one.
And it's not terribly expensive either. Also, his last film, which was also a great film. I've seen both of these. They're both really good. And the last film was Tales of Princess Kaguya. Did it get any Oscar love?
It got an Oscar nomination, but it failed to win. It lost to what did it lose to?
Probably a Disney or Pixar.
I think it was no. Frozen beat The Wind Rises. Okay. This was the year after.
Pixar film.
The other co-founders, of course, were producer Toshio Suzuki and Hayao Miyazaki. And Miyazaki and Takahata twice planned simultaneous releases. Yep. They did pull one of them off. We'll get to that in a minute. But they failed on Kaguya because Takahata was he was very meticulous. And he would take a long time to put a film together, and this was supposed to come out with The Wind Rises, and instead they came out about a year apart. So it was, but Kaguya, it was a great film.
Done in that old painting style, like Japanese painting
very
style.
old school appearance.
So I'm gonna, since you've got two of these that you have two favorites for yours, I will let you start with one. Okay. I'll lead with my favorite of his, and then we'll end with your other favorite of his.
Well, technically, I have 4 of his films that I am a huge fan of, and I just wanted to make sure this one at least got a mention. Pompoko was definitely a fun little film. It is one of the most blatantly pro-environmentalist films.
Actually, both of yours are preachy films.
yeah, to a degree, you could say that. Takahata has a tendency, he likes to explore themes and big topics. His films were not aimed at kids.
No.
Except maybe some of the earlier ones, I don't know.
Well, Little North Prince was... Yeah, more child.
Some of them were technically family friendly, but Kaguya was slow moving. Most kids wouldn't really have the patience for it, I think.
Yeah.
But Pompoko was more kid oriented, except that it did have a certain anatomical peculiarity that I'm surprised Disney actually released it, since they sat on this film for over a decade.
Yeah, then it had to release by some other company.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite film, one of my favorites of all time, Only Yesterday.
Great film.
A wonderful film about somebody remembering their youth, dealing with the fact that they are getting, reaching that middle-aged, being, she's like in her late 20s.
She's like 27, I think.
Yeah, and so...
Makes us feel old.
To me, it was a great film because she talked about the cycle of life. Yeah. Disney was like, nope, can't have that. Women don't do that.
I think it was more that one scene where all the kids were using that as a game.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just...
it's a perfectly normal thing kids do. They learn about something and they have fun with it. And Disney was afraid to touch that.
Well, Disney being prudish, which is sad, but we did finally get an official release of this, and it is one of my favorite films of all time, so definitely.
And I have maintained for years, that one finally got an official American release in 2016, which is why I label it as a 2016 release, even though it was 25 years late. It was my favorite film of that year, easily. I loved Your Name, which was more of a 2016 release, but Only Yesterday was even higher than that. But my all-time favorite Takahata film also has the distinction as, in my book, the best animated feature ever released and the best foreign language feature ever released, and that was Hotaru no Haka, Grave of the Fireflies. This is a film that the jury is split on. I think everyone agrees that it's a great film, but not everyone enjoys it. And I don't know that I enjoy it.
Yeah, you gotta be a masochist to enjoy it.
But I do not consider it as depressing as some do. I think 5 centimeters per second is more depressing. But the thing is, to me, the kids, they never really lost their childish sense of hope. And that, to me, this is like the ultimate of why Takahata was so awesome. He was able to make a movie about 2 starving orphans in the countryside during World War II, which is very much a depressing plot. If you strip it down to the plot, it's one of the most depressing movies imaginable.
Oh, God,
But if you look at the movie itself, it's just a really good movie. And I consider this like the ultimate counterpoint to probably the best World War II movie, which is Schindler's List. So, they're really, really great. But yeah, Takahata, between these films we just mentioned, he also directed My Neighbors the Yamadas, and I think that covers all of his Ghibli production, because he did not do a lot of Ghibli films. Incidentally, I said he and Miyazaki tried to pair. This was released, I believe, the same day that Miyazaki released My Neighbor Totoro. Very different film.
Well,
they were definitely going for a different audience.
Looking at the background of the film, some of the reasons for doing it, though it was a very well done film, to me it still came across as preachy.
It was a little bit.
A lot of it was aimed at the Japanese youth at the time, about how they were acting and how they, I guess, need to shape up in some senses. I don't get the entire translation of it when it comes to that, but to me, preachy and over the top depressing for just the sake of being depressing at times. And that to me comes across a lot like how Atonement came across to me, a lot how Affliction came across to me as sort of just being that way for the sake of being that way. Though, keep in mind, I don't consider it bad.
Yeah.
I just don't consider it one of the greatest. It was very well done, art-wise, well done, and it does hit home at its intended purpose. It's just, to me, not the purpose that I feel in need of. I have to get some enjoyment out of a film if I'm going to put it up there. But again, strong films, great person. We lost a wonderful individual. It is a sad day for them.
And the strange irony is supposedly he was working right up until the end, and he never announced his retirement or gave any indication he planned to retire. Meanwhile, Miyazaki's retired how many times?
Well,
and actually, this is a news for this week. Like a day or two after I found out about Takahata's passing, I'd read the news that Miyazaki's got a new short film that just came out.
Yeah.
And it's like, it screens at the Ghibli Museum. He makes films for the Ghibli Museum. They'll probably never see the light of day here, sadly.
Yeah.
But
there are a lot of short films that are still there that have not gotten out.
Yeah.
Including some stuff that Takahata worked on, like was the Ghibli's, which you see a couple episodes that have been included as extras, but I doubt we'll ever see a full release.
Yeah, we've got some of those over. Yeah.
So, one last death that I know of. Chuck McCann died today. He is a comedian and voice actor, most famous for the voice of the bird, the cuckoo bird, and Cocoa Puffs. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Is that the most famous?
That's what he was most known for. Died of congestive heart failure at 83. And what was your experience with Cocoa Puffs?
Well,
Did you eat it when you were a child?
Yes, I was cuckoo. No, not very often. I liked Cocoa Puffs well enough. But the other one I was trying to look at, Mary Hatcher also died.
Okay.
I'm not super familiar with either of these, but that is two actors whose deaths were announced. She was in The Big Wheel.
Okay. Not Wonder
Holiday
Wheel.
in Havana. Huh?
Not Wonder Wheel, though.
Yeah, so there have been a couple. And one other one I'll just mention here. You talked earlier about some of the Me Too stuff. Director James Toback was one of the ones who apparently got hit hard with allegations. But supposedly they've decided that L.A. will not prosecute him. That's going to piss off a lot of people.
But his career is probably done for at least a time.
Probably. And then this is another movie news. I was still depressed that Joss Whedon said he probably wasn't going to do Batgirl after all. But they have a writer, apparently Christina Hodson, who also wrote the screenplay they're shopping around now for Birds of Prey. And when I was reading this, I read two things that made me sad. This writer is apparently a go-to person right now for trying to bring back older properties. I think I had heard that they were going to spin off the Michael Bay Transformers franchise. I hope to God that was a sad, malicious rumor, but apparently it's not. Apparently there is a movie called Bumblebee that is in the works.
Though he has officially said that he is not going to release any horror movie remakes from here on out.
Okay. Still, the Transformers is enough of a horror show to last a lifetime. And apparently, Miss Hodson, I think her name was, is also working on a new treatment for The Fugitive.
Oh, really?
How many versions of The Fugitive do we really need? We've already had 2 TV shows, a movie, a sequel to the movie, a Russian movie that's basically a shot-for-shot remake of it. How many other versions? I'm sure there's more. Do we need more?
I'm sure there's an animated version.
Probably.
That's a musical. Maybe there's a rapping dog in it.
Talk about stuff that needs an American physical media release.
God.
Titanic, the legend goes on.
So, I guess that's it for movie and TV news.
Okay.
Now on to YouTube news.
Okay.
The big story is with Channel Awesome. You might know Channel Awesome for some people such as Bennett the Sage, Nostalgia Critic, Angry Joe. These are big YouTube names. And Channel Awesome, essentially, for those of you who don't know, it's a conglomeration of YouTubers who glommed together in the old days of YouTube when they weren't so profitable and became something big that gained profit and shared it with everybody. It was a great concept. Now, people are leaving, and leaving in droves, apparently. A memo was released by many of the disgruntled people who were talking about accusations of sexual harassment, homophobia, poor business management, and them just generally being dicks. They, of course, responded only with a tweet, which was essentially them saying, sorry, not sorry. Now, in all fairness, nothing has been really proven here. A lot of the allegations have been thrown at the CEO of the company. It's run by really the big three. You got the CEO, which I can't think of his name, and then you got the Walker brothers. You got Doug and his brother. And Doug is the Nostalgia Critic. And I've heard that really things started to hit the fan after Nostalgia Critic died, and then of course they revived the series later. But after that's when things really started to hit the fan. I'm not going to take any major stabs other than this is just what's released. I really like Nostalgia Critic. It is hilarious. Bennett Sage is still one of my favorite people that covers anime. And I've just gotten into Angry Joe recently. I'm not going to unsubscribe just yet. There is that change the channel movement, which is saying, make them burn. But I want to see a little bit more before I would say, let's jump on the bandwagon. Burn! Burn! Give them a shot. From what I've heard, it's a lot of carelessness, a lot of stupid mistakes, and people getting big heads in the business. But the sexual harassment, the homophobia, these are pretty serious charges, but we'll see how it plans out. You'll probably have seen at least a dozen YouTube channels talking about this. So you can find this letter. It is it's easy to download. It's 60-some pages long. I've only read a portion of it, and there's some pretty serious allegations. So we'll see. You haven't watched any of those, have you?
Not really.
So, so I guess it really doesn't matter to you on that.
I have to admit, I don't do much YouTubing. There's a few channels I watch regularly. Mostly, I'll just watch a bit here and there.
Bad YouTuber.
I know. But it's like so little time,
Well, to me, it's easy. I've got YouTube Red, so I just download stuff and then I watch it as I'm in the middle of stuff or doing paperwork.
Yeah, see, you can do 5 things at once. I can't.
Well, I have to. I can't concentrate on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But with that, actually 2 stories more from me on YouTube. How to cope with boredom and loneliness. This is a hilarious game. It's free. I believe it's on Steam. Find it, download it. It looks hilarious. Rage Select, which is a channel not associated with Channel Awesome. They tend to do lots of Let's Plays, funny commentary, banter, so on. You should definitely check out their site, and I will include a link in the description below. Especially for this particular one, because I found it hilarious. It has some very entertaining things. KGBee, look.
Be here, brother, 'cause I aim to please. I got a knife and a hammer and some antifreeze. Is it hard to speak through your missing teeth? Will you try to fly? What's it take your eye? If you want to leave, then take my key. But I break your knees. I'm Boris the KGBee.
Alright, but you saw that. That is... I had you watch the whole thing earlier on. You gotta admit it.
The tune was stuck in my head for the next 20 minutes.
and they said like it was a children's film, but it was discontinued for some reason.
Children. For some reason, yeah.
The game's about a guy who was grounded by his mother for 33 years. And they're doing a documentary, and you film the documentary, and you select a couple items, and then and the documentary plays forward. And he's got this KGBee poster, which was the last film he was allowed to watch, because he was being good that day, you see. So it's kind of creepy and weird, but it's worth checking out. I mean, it's free. So, last in my news, River City Rebels, which is a band that had one or two of the members, I think, in Rebel Gaming Club, which is a friend to this channel. Mm-hmm. And they are featured in Far Cry 5, which is, by the way, why I purchased Far Cry 5, because I would not have otherwise. I had never played a Far Cry game prior to this, which is sad because I actually own all the other Far Cry games. But I do look forward to listening to them. I listen to the stuff on the radios that they have in the car there, so, you know, I think it's going to be fun. So, do you have anything else on YouTube?
No.
You say you don't really watch much of it. So, let's go
Watch my channel.
Video game news. Too Many Games, which is a con that is about video games. Mm-hmm. They are going to have a lot of very famous ones, like The Angry Video Game Nerd. Mm-hmm. And they are featuring Rebel Gaming Club. They formed a band. They're going to have an album release. And they're performing on the big stage. They lobbied for it. We, who follow the club, worked with them on it. And I am hoping to maybe get there. But it's in Pennsylvania, so not likely. But it's the weekend of June 20th. Tickets are on sale. Go get your tickets. Support Rebel Gaming Club.
Try and meet up with friends up there. That might be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah. If I had the time and the money, I would take that trip in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Microsoft Live is censoring stuff. They have decided they are going to take off the gloves and punch people in the face. Which is fine because the community on Microsoft Live likes to punch people in the face, kick them in the balls, and curse generally, and threaten, and all that terrible stuff. You know, a bunch of 12-year-olds screaming obscenities at each other. So now they're finally deciding, after, I don't know, how long has Microsoft Live been up? Ages? Over a decade? But they're banning people now for offensive language. A lot of people are going to be banned. And this is carrying over into Overwatch, which I don't really care for, but lots of people do. Mm-hmm. And they are now also doing it. They're using an algorithm. YouTube loves that word, algorithm.
Yes.
And their algorithm is going to kick people using harsh language. But they haven't fully defined what harsh language is. You know, maybe somebody calls somebody a ninny bopper or something, and then they look, oh, ninny bopper, you're banned.
What was that? Is it ninny muffin?
Ninny muffin.
I'm trying to think of that term from Elf.
Ninny niggins or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll grab it from here. But that's kind of, I can't see that could go wrong. But, all right, here's one that I know that you'll be interested in. Persona 5 is getting an anime simulcast, and it is out. Oh yeah, I did do that today, and so is My Hero Academia Season 3, who's got the simulcast to that, and I've seen the first episode, and it's doing pretty good. Get ready to go to a training camp, which I'm sure you've already read past that.
What?
Where they go to the training camp in My Hero Academia.
Yes.
Because you've read a lot of the manga already.
Yes.
I haven't read a single page of the manga, so.
Yes.
But Persona 5, the anime is going to be released at the same time as Japan, but sadly Aniplex has the rights, so home media is probably going to be like $100 an episode or some such crap. So, Doom, you know Doom, right? Old video game. That's getting a 4K release. Not the old one. The newer one is getting a 4K release. Gosh, that wouldn't make much sense for the old one. But I'm going to just leave it at that. For those of you who like Doom, 4K. I don't think on the Switch, though. System Shock. I am an investor in System Shock. They're doing a remake, but they were doing it from the ground up and decided, okay, this is wrong. Maybe we should just do a real remake of it. So they had to start over. So, those of you who invested in the System Shock remake, it's going to be released around 2020. Good election year gift, I guess. This is more amusing. I think you'll find this amusing. Mr. Hillman, stop playing in class. That is a phrase. This is Fortnite news. Another game I don't care as much for, but a lot of people who watch this do care for Fortnite. Apparently he decided that he called the creators and got a tool put in to where he can make it say, Mr. Hillman says stop playing in class, for those that were playing Fortnite in his class. Which spooked a lot of students. I find that just highly amusing. And esports is being considered for the Olympics. I don't know if you knew about that.
No.
But I think it's just going to be sports-related games, which is, I don't know, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, all right, so we've got Olympic boxing, and then we've got video game
Well, that would probably
boxing.
qualify as not as violent.
I know, yeah, they can't have violent video games. So the video games that actually are the biggest esports are not going to be allowed at the Olympics. So why? Maybe they they'll play the old NES thing where you would run on the track and field game, where you run on like the pad that looks like a dance pad. Alright, Angry Woman at Gamers. Another entertaining story. I don't know if you heard about this. A woman stabbed a man with a katana. That takes some stuff there. He claims it was due to him playing too much PUBG, or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, for those of you not familiar with the rhetoric. But later on, they believed that he was also cheating. Also, an Asian woman slapped a man in the face with a glue trap because she said he was gaming too much. Reminds me of a scene like out of not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Alright, gaming news is almost done. This is why we do this weekly instead of every other week. Pro gamers moving towards unionization, which I think that's long overdue. They're making lots of money in the esports. I went to the wrong thing. With my poor reaction time, I'd be the guy that they just put out there to distract other people. It's like, hey, look at this guy. He's tripping over himself. Headshot. What the? Oh. Meanwhile, the real people are actually circling behind. Shadow of War, which is the sequel to the Shadow of Mordor, which are these Lord of the Rings games. They're really good. Shadow of Mordor was awesome. Shadow of War was known for microtransactions. You essentially either had to grind for weeks and weeks, or you could pay and then you could win. They decided we're going to remove that a year after it's been released. That's better late than never, right?
Yeah.
Alright, and other news. Only 3 more of these. The 13th Doll, a fan-made sequel to The 7th Guest, is being released. Though The 11th Hour was the official sequel to The 7th Guest. I have beaten both of these. They're interesting games that pioneered motion capture and realistic gaming mechanics, kind of creepy puzzle-solving games. Though this isn't fully related, they do consider this an unofficial sequel, and probably the people who made The 7th Guest aren't really caring to sue. So, biggest news is, well, there's 2 big newses here. PlayStation 5 may be on its way in 2018.
Oh.
They have development kits already out.
I wonder what the street price for that's going to be.
Lots, because apparently it's going to be heavy VR focused. Hopefully not 100% VR. And I wonder if it's going to be backwards compatible.
Let's hope so.
Because I've got enough PS4 things. It would be, to me, there's no reason for a system to not be. I can see with PS3 because it was a cluster crap thing, and it was very hard to make games for. But there's no reason why they can't figure out how to just backwards compatible it to the PS4. They got lots of digital games. They should be able to do that pretty well. It looks like they may actually be taking physical discs instead of being all digital, which was the initial rumor. But it looks like 2018, 2019, so watch your E3 calendars. I have a feeling they're going to be making an announcement this time. Last but not least on gaming news, Sega may be making a new console. So, do you remember the Genesis?
Yeah, I've got it. I have it. No, I don't. I think I sold it. But I had a Genesis.
So that was when they were really on top of their game back in those. They kind of fell from grace after the Genesis. Then they had flop after flop after flop.
Right.
They did the Dreamcast, but unfortunately it was too little too late, and they died. And now Sega just makes games, mainly arcade games. But they may be getting back into the market because the president of... Not our president, but Sega's president... had hinted at a return to the market. So that is going to be interesting. Alright, last bits, because I'm pretty sure you don't have any video game news. You really don't do the gaming like I do. Last bits of news, just kind of other stuff. Facebook breach. Facebook, as you probably know, did you know about the Facebook breach?
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about that.
Looks like it could be up to 87 million affected, and you will probably know either this week or next week. They plan on emailing everybody, so if your information was stolen, and likely it was, you'll probably be there. So, people will have lots of stuff. There's going to be a lot of stolen identities, probably yours truly, maybe yours, I don't know. Do you have any personal information on Facebook?
Some, I don't know how much. Not a huge amount, but...
Most of mine is locked away, but these things are there.
Yeah.
And another breach, Amazon was breached. So change your Amazon passwords, people. There have been several people whose bank accounts have been emptied because they had debit cards attached. So, I don't know about you. I know I have a couple cards attached.
Good luck with that.
But, I want to make sure. I don't have my bank account attached to it. And
they could try. I've got nothing for you to steal.
So, that's it for me in the news. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
I'm not sure I've really heard of anything that we haven't really covered. Nothing jumps to mind at any rate. Most of the news I've been getting is all these rumblings of the impending trade war, which, that's going to be fun. But but other than that...
things are going to get more expensive.
Yeah. A lot more in some cases.
So we'll see. And that's going to also affect media collecting.
Yeah.
But of course, we print most of the discs that we collect are made in Mexico.
Yeah.
So we're not in a trade war with Mexico yet. So that's a good thing, I guess.
Right. I guess it depends on whether the component parts are going to go way up in price.
The Chinese bootlegs will probably go up in price.
Either that, or they're going to intentionally be flooding the market.
Yeah. iPhones are going to they're going to soar in price because they're mostly made in China.
Yep.
Most of the parts are assembled. Many cell phones are made in China.
Yep.
Mine's made in Korea, so I don't know whether that's any better. But who knows? Maybe that's going to spur, an American industrial revolution, a new one, or maybe not.
Who knows? We'll see.
But this has been a long one this time around. Yep. But this is what happens when you got 2 weeks worth of stuff. And we've had a lot of stuff come out this week. We had a big death in there.
Yeah.
And in general, just a lot of stuff going on. But next week, we'll come back with something a little bit less heavy. And we'll deal with it at that time. So, with that, let us know what you think in the comments. Any news that you saw that you said, hey, this is great, or do you have any news that you need to share? Feel free let us know in the comments. Share, like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.